Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you're having a great and wonderful day. Well, without further ado, let's give you some juice. You know, the juice that Google keeps on giving. The juice that makes us know that they're never been with anybody that's besides on the far left. Where Google favors just one specific group of people. I know, this is going to be a shock to you, but new study finds Google favors Democratic campaigns, buries Republican websites. Oh my, shocker! This is. Oh man, I'm shocked. It can't possibly be true. A stunning new study from Media Research Center (MRC) shows just how biased Google search results are when it comes to the world of the politics. By typing in just one query, presidential campaign websites, Google returned only Democratic Party candidates, some of which are not even running in 2024. A notable Democrat who does not appear is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., even though the controversial scion of Camelot is second in the Democratic race. No Republican candidates appeared on the first page of results, even though the research was conducted the day before the first GOP debate, at a time when Americans are looking to the internet for more clarity on the candidates. It's almost shocking, right? It's just like there's just election interference immediately. Like, okay, YouTube, don't go get mad at me for trying to state something, alright? But let's be honest here. You cannot say this is not election interference when you're only showing one group of candidates rather than showing all the candidates, right? You need to be able to show both Republican and Democratic candidates, not just one group of people here. The results of the analysis would almost be funny if they weren't such a threat to democracy. Not surprisingly, Joe Biden's campaign pops up first, but after that, Marianne Williamson, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. Seriously. The research was done using a clean algorithm that is not impacted by prior researches or cookies, so what we're seeing is Google's baseline for results, and it clearly shows that while Americans expect Google to act as a neutral resource, it is anything but one. MRC's Vice President for Free Speech, Dan Schneider, put it this way. Google has erased every threat to Joe Biden. We know that Google pulled out all the stops to put Hillary Clinton in the White House, and they have continued to interfere in our elections ever since. Compared to social media platforms, it is harder to document what Google does in secret, but we at MRC Free Speech America have caught them red-handed. And this isn't the first time. Back in October of 2020, MRC found Google's thumb on the scale in search results leading up to the midterm election. And what did you know? Then as now, the stifling of speech went only in one direction, against conservative voices. Surprise, surprise. It's not like this is not an ongoing thing with a lot of these media companies, and that our government, or rather our, I would say our Supreme Court, should probably get their ass in gear and stop companies from doing this, please. So can we get an actual correctness of, maybe companies not doing this crap? Alright? Let's be this perfectly bluntly honest. If you're as powerful as Google, and you're doing anything that has to do with elections, or what have you, anything at all, or silencing speech, you should probably pay a very hefty fine. A fine that might hurt them. Let's see here. Maybe a fine of, $15 billion. Now you're probably going to say, Jam Reports, that's ridiculous. No company, no. Google can pay a 15 can. It's a very large company, right? A very, very large company. And by all means, $1 million, $500 million is not going to be like, oh no, that's so bad. No, that's like, okay, here you go. It's Google. It's not like that's baby money to them still. I know $500 million is an immense amount of money for the normal American. Hell, it's an immense amount of money for me. Hell, I'll settle for like $2 billion. Please, just give me $2 million and I'll set myself up for life. But please, or hell, $1 million. But for the love of God, guys, it's like $500 million, that's nothing to Google. You have to hit them where it hurts. And $15 billion at the start would really, really hurt them. That would probably show that, okay, Google, you can't do this anymore. You are not allowed to just put one group of people, of candidates, what you want onto your website or for your search results, especially during election time. You cannot do this. That is highly illegal. That is election interference and huge amount of every which way possible. You cannot do this. So, by having a law where you cannot allow social media companies and Google to do this stuff, and putting a very hefty, huge fine on it, yeah, I think that would tell Google, oh God, well, it's like, oh wait, we lost. That would show Google to not do this anymore. It would at least put some type of threat with them. In fact, before this, we'll see how much Google is worth, all right? Because that will probably show you guys on how low of amount of money you would make them feel the punishment, like how much it actually has to be. According to Schneider, Google has consistently stood apart from all other search engines, and not in a good way. We have repeatedly seen Google and big tech social media platforms treat Republican candidates harshly compared to the Democrat opponents. There are really only two things that can be going on here. Either these biased results are intentional, which Google denies, or the implicit left-wing bias of the software engineers and others in the company is seeping into the search engine, which, that's also very high probability. Honestly, it could very well be both. I'll be honest with you. It could very well be both. According to Open Secrets, 88% of political donations from Google employees go to Democrats. So should we really be surprised when the product they produce pushes a liberal agenda? It should also come in as no surprise that Democrats in Congress have opposed almost any investigation or legislation targeting big tech. Political bias, after all, is working to their benefit. It's also working not just to harm conservatives, but the entire country. Whether in regard to elections, COVID, critical race theory, or the trans issue, perfectly reasonable positions have been throttled by Google. Over 90% of the world uses Google as its primary search engine. So how can voters be properly informed on the candidates and the issues if the ultimate arbiter of online relevance is stacked against one side? The time for Congress to act is now. First, by continuing to haul the big tech bosses to Capitol Hill to explain why this is happening and why it's not changing. And then to pass meaningful legislation cracking down on ideological bias in the industry. By the way, guys, I didn't even read this article. I read this article and learn everything as you guys go through, alright? So, exactly as I said, that's exactly what they need to do. Because Google needs to pay, and they need to pay massively. Search engine bias is a silent form of censorship, a liable omission, if you will, that makes it no less perilous to our politics because people don't know what they don't know. And Google seems happy to keep its users in ignorant bliss as long as it helps the left. Conservatives can no longer throw up their hands on this issue and pretend it's just happening. Google searches are too entwined in the daily lives of Americans for this rank bias to stand. To some degree, in today's age, Google search results are reality itself. For better or worse, big tech, and Google in particular, is now the gatekeeper of information. The First Amendment can give us all the right to free speech, but what is used if the tech titans and social media barons manipulate what average Americans actually see? The bias is real, the bias is proven, and whether by the hand of the industry or the government, the bias has to stop. 100% agree. And we have this as well. We have the MRC free speech, to where the candidate's website, Joe Biden, and you have order 1 through 5. Search result is 2. Marianne Wilson is 5. Bernie Sanders is 9. Elizabeth Warren is 12. And Hillary Rodham Clinton is 29. So you see here that it is pretty heavily biased. MRC Free Speech America research Google using a clean environment for the term presidential campaign website to determine which campaign websites Google displayed on its first page results. So you get to see all this stuff here. And again, we have this here, where new Coleman Insights Amplify Video Research Studies shows YouTube crushes Spotify and Apple Podcasts in face-off between podcast users of both platforms. Among users of both YouTube and Spotify to consume podcasts, YouTube beats Spotify for more than enjoyable to consume your podcast on 70% to 30%. Easier to use, 67% to 33%. Makes better podcast recommendations, 62 to 38%. So you're seeing like a massive difference in actual use here. And if we go here, ladies and gentlemen, and we go to Google, let's see here, what was the correct thing? Google net worth is 1.6 trillion. So yes, so if Google is like 1.6 trillion, or even if they want to go with 1.3 billion, or give or take, and all that stuff, you would think that 15 billion is not even enough. So I would say, if we really want to put our hurt on Google and make them feel the pain, put it at 500 billion or 50 billion. Because here's the thing, guys. You gotta make companies feel the danger and the pain of it, right? 500 million, anywhere in the millions is nowhere near enough. You need to have somewhere in the mid to high billions for Google to really feel the pressure. Because not only they're doing censorship, but they're also doing election interference. And for that, they have to pay. And until Google pays the severe consequence of that, it's just gonna be a oncurring thing to where it's just a slap on the wrist and they'll keep on doing it regardless. So make them pay hard and make them pay big, and we'll see change within their algorithms and all their other stuff because they actually got a severe punishment that is levied against them. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, share. As always, take care.